I recently posted a photo on Reddit and a lot of people commented that my photo is made by AI. Like this comment here. Why everything looks so smooth and fake? How or why did you do that? I've never seen a photo like this that wasn't done by AI. Little do these people know that to achieve that result, you need a lot of preparation and technique. And this video is about that. So today I will guide you on how to take perfect photos of children. Before pressing the shutter speed, there's a list of things to prepare. I will go through each one of them, starting with scouting locations. There are two types of locations that I look when photographing children. One is old villages, because I like the architecture. And the other is nature, but not any type of nature. And it's important to take into account the distance to go to that place. So let's say that I plan to photograph in a gorgeous locations that I found on the internet, and I promoted my photo shoots there and I got clients. But if this place will take forever, let's say 2 hours for the families to go there, mothers, they will not want to do their photo shoots there because children, they will get tired. So the distance should not go beyond 1 hour, and for some people 30 minutes is the limit. Okay, so let's say that I found a good place that is close and is nice. What does it mean to be nice for artistic photo shoot? I look for colors and textures. So if my location is a beach, I look for colors beyond the sand, the water, and the sky. So I look for something beyond that can give me some textures, like a deck or rocks. Besides of the colors and different textures, that's a place that I can put the child to photograph in different scenarios. Because if I only have sand, the water, and the sky, I only have that. So we'll have to play with other things in order to give parents a lot of variations. Because parents or mothers, they don't want only one background, they want more colors, they want variation. So I need to give the child something to play with. I need to photograph the kid running, playing with a dog, sitting, posing, different things. If I have a place that has a different background that is even more interesting to me, it helps me to photograph this child. Visit locations first. If it is your first time in that place, you don't even know if that is the right place for you. Of course, if I'm going to photograph abroad, which can happen quite often, I always look for photos on the internet or videos, and then I arrive there earlier to give it a look at the place and have in mind what I'm going to achieve. But the ideal is to go there one day before, at the same time that you're going to take your photos, so you can also study the light and see where you're gonna place the child, what they're gonna do, what colors you have, because sometimes the photos you look online are not the same that you're gonna have when you get there at a specific time, at a specific season. So always visit the location first. Avoid distractions. That happens a lot when you go to touristic places, such as historical villages. I love this kind of scenario. I love the vintage. I love everything that reminds me the 40s and 50s. If I'm going to photograph on weekends, which happens most often, I'm gonna have a lot of tourists going into those places. So I have to visit there first too, to make sure that I pick a street that usually tourists don't go, or maybe to make sure that that place is not crowded, because some touristic places are not that touristic at the time you're going. Maybe it's high season only in summer, but if you're going there in April, it's fine. Always make sure that you don't have too many distractions. And distractions can be a car that is parked right behind your background. It can be anything actually that will appear in your frame, and you have a little bit of difficulty to remove that on Photoshop. Clothes and accessories. When I started taking photos of children in 2018, I didn't have clothes to offer to parents because at the time I only photographed for my portfolio. I didn't make almost any money, and I didn't feel that it would be a good investment for me to spend money on free photo shoots. But parents, they usually don't have the proper clothes for the kind of photos that I take that is vintage or inspired by the childhood from the 40s and 50s. And I used to say to them, just bring your child with clothes that has no prints. So they thought, okay, a white t-shirt and jeans should do the job. Sometimes it can even work. I'm not saying, oh, don't don't photograph with this kind of clothes. Sometimes it works because it depends on other factors. But I realized that they had very basic clothing that didn't help with the final result. Because what is a very good photo, or at least in my opinion, artistic photography? It is a combination of good light, good scenario with colors and textures, what the kid is doing and wearing. If one of those things are missing, you're not gonna have the result that you were looking for. And I realized that I should bring those clothes because parents, they didn't have it. You're not gonna find it very easily, at least in Brazil, where I was living. And little by little, I started to supply them with those clothes. So I ordered with a dressmaker. I searched online clothes from the 40s and 50s, bought the fabric and gave it to the dressmaker to make them specifically for that session. After I moved to Europe, I still don't have a big collection. I have a few clothes that I offer depending on the package. If they buy a more expensive package, then I supply them with the clothes. But if they buy a mini session that is not really expensive, I just guide them with the clothes. So I send them a link of my Pinterest folder where I share inspirations, and I also help them to buy from certain websites that here in Europe they can find it quite easily. Recently, a mother, she wanted to book a photo shoot, and she said to me that the fact that she had to look for clothes and buy the clothes herself for the photo shoot was quite discouraging. And she's right. If you can supply your clients with clothes, not only you make their life easier to choose you as their photographer, but also you make sure that the result corresponds to what you're looking for artistically. Because sometimes parents, they don't buy the right clothes, even if you guide them. I can give one example, is this photo shoot. I was photographing those little girls in Switzerland. I only provided the vintage doll because I was traveling, I couldn't carry too much weight. So I guided the mother to buy the clothes. She chose the clothes, but according to my suggestions, I wouldn't have those results if it wasn't for those little details, the stroller, the vintage dolls, the clothes. Imagine if they were wearing like jeans and t-shirt, white t-shirt. It would be kind of boring. Finding models for your portfolio, that is the easiest part. Now I have the location, I know what time I should photograph them, I know what they can wear. So I need to find children for my portfolio. If you don't have any clients, of course, then you can publish on your social media or on Facebook groups. There are plenty of parents who would love to get free photos in exchange for you to publish them. And that's what happened here in this video. I was making an ad to advertise my photo shoots. And because I had photographed Tristan before and also his dog, I knew they were going to be a perfect fit. Setting schedule. So when we think about when to photograph people, that can be a headache sometimes, at least for me, because I only like to photograph people when it's cloudy or before sunset, 1.5 hours to 2 hours before sunset. The thing is, here where I live in Europe, it gets dark at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. during summer, and children, they have their time to go to bed. And some parents, they don't like to have a photo shoot at 9 p.m. or 8 or even 7 p.m. because they think it's too late and they have to think about the time to come back home and shower and everything. So they prefer to have the photo shoot at 4 p.m. The problem is I have too much light at 4 p.m. I'm not gonna have the same artistic photos that I have later. And even if they agree with what I say, I understand your point, but still in their head, it has to be early or at noon or something like this, which is not possible. I cannot compromise myself to photograph someone when they want or where they want and still promise the result. Because if they're hiring me, they expect me to give very artistic photo shoots, the same I showed on my Instagram account and so on. So I cannot say, oh yeah, let's do it just because I want the money, and then I know the result is not gonna be very good, and at the end it's gonna be my fault because I agree on that. If I'm going to photograph when it's cloudy, which for me it's perfect weather, it's a lot easier to photograph when it's cloudy. The problem is sometimes the weather forecast tells you it's gonna be cloudy all day, and then when you're there photographing, you have that sun super shiny showing up, which can be a problem if you're photographing, let's say, at 2 p.m. So those situations are some of the things that make artistic photography quite hard to achieve. Of course, if you're photographing in the right time, if you have behaved children, beautiful locations, proper clothes and accessories, the light is perfect, the photography is going to be very easy to take. But when do you have all that? It's not always. Managing children during the photo shoot. Sometimes children, they are children, they don't want to collaborate. You have so many beautiful ideas in mind, but they just don't sit quiet. They're moving too fast, or they start to cry. And the same thing with the dog doesn't want to sit close to the child, and you're, oh my God, what do I do? So something that happens, there's a list of things that happen that will help you to guide children during the photo shoot. But the main one is to entertain them and make them focus on something, on some activity. So let's say you're gonna photograph a 1-year-old. Usually at this age, they have so much energy. They're not gonna sit still and look at you, probably. You have to think of ideas that will make them want to concentrate in that idea. That can be something that they will eat, or you can, let's say, set up a table, put some flour, like wheat flour, and make them play with that, mix with some water. Try to think of ideas that you bring to the photo shoot. And something you can also do is observe what those children do and then photograph what they are doing, but under nice frame. Once I was photographing twins, and they were climbing and getting down the stairs all the time. Parents, they will try to make them stay calm for a while for the photo shoot, and then I thought, wait, that can be a very nice idea. And then we asked them to keep going, coming up and down the stairs, and I photographed them like this. It was very nice because then the photo, which unfortunately I cannot publish, I'm not allowed, photo have like movement. They are being children, and also they are using their energy. So when I have to photograph them sitting, they have less energy, and probably and most likely they will sit down. They're gonna be so happy, having so much fun, that for them that is not photo shoot. It's a time to have fun, where they would jump, they will run with their dog in a flower field or something like this. So that's the goal, to have beautiful photos with good memories from that day. Well, everything that I explained in this video is just a summary of how it is to photograph children, artistically or not. It's things that you have to consider to take good photos. And it's not the whole thing, because it will take hours and hours, and this will be a course and not a YouTube video. But if you like to learn more about photographer routine, sometimes I'm traveling, I have now a newsletter where I share my experiences and tell stories like the ones I tell here on the channel. And if you like to know more about that and read the stories before everyone else, before it becomes a video, you just have to sign up. I post the link on the description, and it is available in English. But if you want to translate to your mother language, there is in your email a button like this. You just have to press it and it will translate automatically to your language, so everyone can read the newsletter. To sign up, just click on the link, and see you on the next video.